Well, hello and welcome back to the Rebel Tribe podcast. As you may or may not know, we have been in a summit all week. I have hosted my very first virtual summit. I have done live events in the past, and yes, it's been a long, long time, but still, I remember what they were like. And let me tell you, virtual is harder. Okay, virtual is harder. Um, but I have four. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm so tired. I have three. I have three guests with me. That's how tired we are. Okay, I can't even count. I have three guests with me. They were all speakers at the summit, and we thought we would get together tonight and just have a little debrief about what it's like to host and speak on a virtual summit. So, welcome to the Rebel Tribe podcast, where we don't just talk about building a life you love, we help you do it your way. I'm your host, Melodieann Whiteley. I'm an author, mentor, and founder of the Rebel Tribe. This is a space for women who are done following the rules and are ready to write their own, the ones who are bold enough to shake things up, brave enough to face the hard stuff, and wise enough to know that success does not have to mean burnout. Even though we all look exhausted, don't listen to that, okay? So we are going to be diving into a real conversation tonight about the truth of what it's like to host and speak at a summit. My guests are Faye Nolman, Betty Withrow, and Sharon Rees. You've probably seen them before. They've all been speakers on my podcast. And today they were speakers, or during this week, they were speakers at the summit as well. And so I thought it might be a lot of fun to just go through what it's like to have a summit. Ladies, what surprised you? What surprised you? I mean, I have a long list of what surprised me every day, okay? Every day something surprised me. What surprised you?
Uh,
What surprised you?
uh, well, it was certainly surprising when we couldn't get our group together for the panel on Tuesday, and we spent half an hour trying to figure out what we were going to do about it, and then it ended up that you and I were just ad-libbing through the whole thing. And it was it was a fun surprise because we just kind of went ahead and did it anyway. Our previous topic was no longer possible, and that was a nice surprise to just jump in. And then when it was my turn to speak, I had a nice surprise when Chrome gave me a whole argument about being ready to share my screen for my PowerPoint, and I had to figure that out on the fly. But overall, that was the tech surprises. So that I think that was plenty.
There were a lot of tech surprises. What about you, Sharon? What surprised you?
Well, I was very, very pleasantly surprised by the quality of the information that all the speakers brought. It was just really, really a pleasant surprise. Very, very nice. Um, and of course, my tech challenge was the other surprise, which I was on with Be Live yesterday again for an hour and still no solution. So, yeah. Anyway,
You're just not meant to be on Be Live, I guess. What about you, Faye? Any surprises?
I don't know about surprises, just the realization that even though we invite people and people sign up, you never know who's going to actually show up live. So talking into the void, so to speak, presents its own little bit of a challenge, I guess, especially if you're used to interacting live one-on-one or in a group situation. So you have to really stay focused and bring your A game, even though in the back of your mind you got that little tiny voice going, I don't think anybody's listening. So that's a little bit of a challenge. I loved some of the nuggets that I was able to pick up and some of the validation that I received over some of the things that I've been intuitively doing. it was just nice to hear that from other people.
I know. I think that I'm kind of with you there, Faye, that what surprised me is kind of maybe a little bit different from you, though, because I hate just speaking into a screen. That's why sometimes I find doing my podcast episodes a little difficult because I always feel like I'm boring or, I love a live audience. I feed off that energy. And it was a little easier for me this time because live streaming, I could go monitor the Facebook group while I was speaking. So I would have the live streaming platform up on one screen, but I would have Facebook up on my other screen and I could watch the group and I could see when people were commenting and liking and that made it a little easier because even though I wasn't seeing them and getting that feedback and that energy, I could still see that there was people out there and they were reacting. So it made it a little bit easier, I think. But yeah,
Yeah, being on the speaker side, you couldn't see the comments.
but I still prefer standing on a stage talking to people to speaking at a screen. But that did surprise me that it made that much of a difference to at least see in the group when people were liking and commenting and so better. What was harder than you thought it would be? Sharon, what was harder than you thought it would be? I know your answer, I'm pretty sure. What was harder than you thought it would be?
Well, it was pretty frustrating not being able to do my talk at the appointed time, but I know that there's always a reason, and that's fine. I'm fine with it. Yeah.
What about you, Faye? What was harder than you thought?
Harder than I thought.
Mhm.
Well, relating back to staring at a screen versus a live event, when you know there's other speakers that you want to listen to, and even though you're the host and you're kind of forced to sit there all day just to monitor everything and what's going on, even as an attendee to watch the other speakers, you kind of feel locked in the chair. So that was a little challenging.
What about you, Betty? Anything that you found difficult?
Well, yeah, I see that point about the difference between presenting live and presenting online. There's definitely way different, like you said, when you're feeding off the audience, it feels really nice and everything. And in this case, you're just sort of hoping that somebody's going to pick up on it. So there was that. And because I hadn't given that particular presentation for quite a while, I found that I was kind of reaching back into my memory bank and trying to find something relevant that I was doing now so I could tie it together in my mind and say something that people would enjoy, So that was an interesting moment for me.
Yeah, I think what I found so difficult, I expected because it was a brand new live streaming platform for me. I'd never used it, and because of the computer crash 2 days before, I didn't really have the time I wanted to play with it. So I learned it in a few hours the night before we started. Okay, so I expected that was going to be difficult, but it really wasn't for the most part. I mean, there was a couple times when I had to get on with their support and ask for help, but they were very quick to get back to me. And it slowed things down a little, but not that bad. And yes, there were a few times when the technology didn't work. And I was surprised at how easy it was for me to just jump in there and go, okay, well, that didn't work. So we're gonna do this instead and surprise. And because that always in the past that would have made me feel embarrassed. Like, do you know what you're doing? What kind of event is this? You can't even keep your things straight. You can't keep anything running. In the past, that would have bothered the crap out of me, to be honest. But so I expected that same reaction. I guess I've grown because it didn't bother me. It's like, okay, it's technology, stuff happens. But what I found
Right.
really hard was sitting here all day, every day. Okay. With the headset
Yeah, that's a
on.
lot.
Oh, I was just like, please. There was a couple times when speakers were going on, and they were all, like Sharon said, they were all amazing. Every one of you and everybody else was amazing. But I was sitting here towards the end of the day sometimes going, will you please shut up and be done? Okay? Stop talking. I want to get up. I hurt. And I felt bad because it's like, I asked you all to be here and you all have such amazing information, but I just want you to be quiet so I can stop because I'm tired.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I would do it differently next time. I might not have quite so, well, who am I kidding? I will have probably as many speakers. I would probably not have like the VIP events in the evening that I've been having. I might try to think of other things to do with the VIPs because by the time that rolled around 7 o'clock, I'd be finishing downstairs with dinner and everything, and then I'd have to run back upstairs and get back online to do stuff with them. And I'm like, I don't know if I would do that again. That was a lot. Maybe, I don't know.
You might also consider limiting speakers' time. Like some of the speakers went for an hour, maybe limiting it to 15 or 20 minutes per speaker.
Well, I wanted to really get some information out there. This was not so much of a, I've been to events where they all did get 15, 20 minutes maybe, and that was more of a rah-rah before they tried to sell you something, okay? That was
Got
not
it.
the kind of event I wanted it to be. I've been to those. I hate them. It's like, you
Okay.
tell me something, send me a sales letter, okay? Or something. Don't make me pay to come to your event and then try to sell me something. That I hate those. And that's what they usually were. I mean, I've been to a bunch of those. I'm this wonderful person. Here's 2 tips, and if you want any more, you got to buy my stuff. And okay, we're done now. I hate those. I wanted this to be.
I'm not into that one either.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted this to be exactly what it was. Experts in their fields getting up and actually sharing information. And unfortunately, sometimes that takes a little bit of time. So
Yeah.
they did have a limit of an hour. That was it. I mean, the hour was the top. There was going to be no more. Because I know from my own experience on the podcast, I'll tell you 20 minutes and then we're still talking an hour later. So, okay. So I know sometimes you cannot say anything in 20 minutes. So I have learned so much about myself during this whole thing. It's amazing. Like I said, there's so many things that are coming for the whole Rebel Tribe, for me personally, from what I've experienced through this event. What about you guys? Did you learn anything about yourselves? Faye?
I learned that I still have some work to do.
Like what? What did you learn? I mean,
Oh, some of the shadow work that I've been avoiding that needs to actually lead me to find some time to sit and uncover those blocks or those limiting beliefs that I'm still holding on to, because that's more than likely what's still keeping me stuck. So having that spotlight shining directly on it, getting those chat GPT prompts from you that one day,
oh,
that
when
was
I did the AI
that
thing. Oh, when I did the AI impromptu thing, I don't know why I
yeah.
bounced in there and did that. Something happened. I don't remember what it was. Something happened and we had to
Yeah.
fill time. So I was like, we're going to talk about AI. Okay.
And that was like super valuable.
I love AI. I really do. I love AI. I think it's,
That gave me some insight that I didn't see about myself.
I love AI. It's a wonderful tool. If you use it for something more, like I said, today I actually asked it to create an email for me because I'm just worn out and I couldn't even think. And I asked it to write an email for me. And it actually reacted. It's like, what? Okay. You're asking me to create something for you. That's unusual.
Really, it said that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I love it. I've been using it for a while too. I've been using it for almost a year. So, and
Right, because I use it to create things, outlines and stuff. That was why I started using it, and so I never get that reaction from it. Oh, now you're asking me to write something, you
yeah, I
know.
never ask for stuff like that because that to me is the worst use of AI. You can tell immediately when somebody's using AI to write their stuff. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
can go,
yeah,
that's AI, but I do use it
right.
for ideas. I use it all the time for
Well,
ideas.
ideas, and then you can take the email that it writes and then humanize it. That's what needs to be done, because
Yeah,
it talks like a machine all the time.
I know. There was a lot of elevate, even in the email, even though it's been known me for a year and it knows how I talk pretty much now, there was still a lot of elevating going on in that email.
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
we're
Elevate. Let's dive in. Yeah.
not,
It's all about da da da. I know. It's crazy. Yeah.
it was fun, but still, it saved me some time. It did save me a lot of time. What about you, Betty? Did you learn anything about yourself?
Well, yeah, I learned that. Well, I learned I'm still pretty good at ad lib, which was nice to know. I mean, that what the first morning that you and I were interacting, I was like, well, let's just roll with it. And I got a sort of a sense of detachment about it. Like, okay, well, this is either going to work or it's not. And that was good because it helped me to loosen up. I mean, sometimes when I'm speaking, I come across like the super nerd, and it's fine, but I like to be a little bit more amusing than that. So being able to kind of let go was a good one.
And if you guys missed the power of the pivot, I actually posted that on my timeline because it was just so much fun. We're just sitting there staring at each other going, what are we going to do? I did not want to cancel it. I'd
Right.
already had to cancel one. And then the other one, when I did the impromptu AI thing out of nowhere, and I was like, I do not, because this was a long break. If I'd have canceled, it'd have been like a 2 hour break. And if you've been to events, if you let people go for 2 hours, they don't come back.
Right.
So I was like, I do not want to let them go for 2 hours. What are we going to do? We're like, let's just talk about pivoting. Okay. So
Yeah.
here we are.
What do you do when it's not working? Figure out some way to make it work anyway,
So yeah,
which is actually one of my superpowers. So it was kind of cool to reconnect with that.
it was fun. It was so much fun. I did. That is the only episode I shared on my timeline because, you had to register for the event and everything, but that wasn't really a planned speaker. And it was just so much fun. It's like, what do you do when nothing works? Yeah, do something else.
Right.
So if you guys missed the power of the pivot, it's on my timeline.
Okay.
I tagged you. I tagged you because I figured you'd get a kick out of it. It's like, oh dear, we're sharing it now. Okay.
There was one other little bit of insight that just popped into my head, Melodieann.
What's that?
I did my entire presentation today impromptu. I did not prepare anything ahead of time. And the fact that I was able to convey what I needed to convey easily and effortlessly was a big yay for me.
Did you guys see it? She put me to sleep again.
I know, because you needed it.
I was actually sleeping during that. I'm sorry I missed it.
I hate when she does that because all of a sudden she wakes me up. I'm like, what did I miss? Did I miss something?
Your unconscious mind got it all.
What about you, Sharon? Did you learn anything about yourself?
Yeah, about myself, I had anticipated that it was going to be super, super difficult to juggle all of the other things in my life and still, participate and be involved in the summit. But it was much easier than I thought. I mean, all of the speakers were so interesting and had so much valuable information to share that, I would be listening with my little Bluetooth earphones while I was making lunch, and I thought, yay, this works, So, yeah, it was, I felt like it was very, very profitable time spent, really.
Well, I have to admit, I'm so grateful because you guys were, I think, pretty much there for just about everything. I kept seeing you liking, and during the thing, I'd see likes and comments and shares. So I think you guys have been pretty much with me this whole entire time, even if you weren't actually speaking the whole time or you weren't sitting monitoring or whatever, but you were there. So I kind of feel like, well, I'm looking at you and y'all looked like you're as drained as I am. Okay. I'm just saying, okay, you look like you're about as worn out as I am, but yet you're still here. How do you do that? How do you keep going when you're just drained? Betty?
Well, I'm not sitting up. I was like, we can do this as long as you don't ask me to sit up. That's one thing, and then it's like, okay, I think it's important to recognize when you don't have to take everything so seriously. I mean, like I had a lot of stuff go on today that was difficult or annoying. Some of it was annoying and this and that, and I'm like, okay, well, let go. And then I was like, oh, and we're having this chat this evening. I usually try to not do anything at this time of day, but okay, well, let's see what we can do. Well, let's have some fun instead. And so that's to me, that's the thing, is like, okay, we're just here to have fun, right? And learn from each other. And nobody's asking me to do something for them. That's the point, Yeah.
What about you guys, Sharon, Faye? How do you guys?
Yeah, if I need a nap, I go take a nap. And today I needed a nap. So, and then my husband was really bugging me. He really, really, really wanted to go into town because his frother that he uses to make his mix up his greens in the morning, broke. And so he was super frustrated. So we went to town, So all of those things they're getting out of the normal routine and just they're restful. They're more restful, really. And the kitties, oh my goodness, my kitties today, it was kind of cool. And they snuggled up around me and they hedged me in. They would not let me get up from my nap. So when that happens, that's a good nap.
Yeah.
We knew you were tired. How about you, Faye? You probably have some holistically healthy thing that you do. Okay. So
as a matter of fact, I did. As a matter of fact, I did. Jason Shirka recently posted a light system transmission on his YouTube. I downloaded it as a private one of my playlists, and I put that on loop, and I just sat back, closed my eyes for a bit, and let the energy from that EE system do its thing, and that helped revitalize me. Plus the tapping, believe it or not, that you and I did, even though it was only one round, that gave me back some energy as well.
Cool. Well, yeah. But maybe that's why I'm still here. Then you made me tap, and I've got my coconut water.
There you go.
I had my steak, which wasn't very good, but it was. I didn't get it from where I normally get it. I got it. It was one that had been in the freezer. I think it was a Walmart steak, and it wasn't very. Can I say that? Is Walmart going to thump me for saying their steak was horrible? No. It was not as good as where I usually buy my protein from. Let's just say that. We'll say that. Sorry, Walmart.
Well, at least it was protein.
So yeah, so I had my steak and I had my coconut water and I had tapping and I feel better. I'm still tired when I'm able to be here and be semi-coherent.
I'm kind of in alignment with Betty, though. I don't, because I'm on the East Coast, it's almost 9 o'clock at night. Normally, I would not be on a video call. I would have already canceled this stuff out for the day.
Exactly. There's
So what made you say it to be here today, even though we're all tired? Most of us would be winding down for the night, except maybe, well, Betty said she would be too, even though she's West Coast, but still, she said she'd be winding down for the night. So what made you all say yes?
It was important.
Yeah. Priority, you know.
Yeah.
It's my gals. It's my ladies.
We needed to continue promoting the message that you started for this movement.
Yeah.
I think it's vital. Women
We're
feel
the rebels, yeah.
And women feel so isolated in general. I see it so many times in the yoga classes that I teach. People show up and they're floundering and they're just aching for some sort of community, some sort of support. So I think that was a big driving force to continue to show up.
What does community and connection mean to you in moments like this when we're all just worn the heck out, but we're all still here? And we're all still here, not just for each other, but we're here for all the other women at the summit and in the group. What does that mean? What do you think that means?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking all of you.
Oh, okay. I'll let somebody else talk.
Come on, Sharon.
Yeah, well, I think that, because we have gotten to know each other, we are a support to each other. I mean, we're part of a group, a movement. We really enjoy, at least I enjoy being with you ladies. I assume that the others also do. So, yeah, it's cool.
Right. Yeah. And a place where you can relax and also, share important insights about life and, our minds and our hearts and our bodies connect. I mean, scientifically shown that when you're on Zoom, you're physically connected with the other people on the call, besides everything else. I think that it is refreshing, and like you said, Sharon, as we get to know each other, we feel more comfortable sharing our truths and showing up for one another. If somebody's a little bit down or something, they know that somebody else in the group gets it and understands it. I think that's a real human need that people have, to be able to feel safe saying how they feel. And it is very true that women do feel isolated often. It's like, okay, you have to show up as powerhouse at all times. You can't be not perfect, all this mythology that we're rejecting as we're creating this new movement of being our actual selves. It takes gumption to unlearn all those things and become more aligned and more real. So having other people who get it is key to that. We need each other for those things.
When did we lose all that, do you think? I mean, I'm thinking back even to, so when I first moved out here, I worked for the Girl Scouts, and I was their adult development manager. So then I got to train all the volunteers and everything, and the staff and everybody. And like, I'm an event planner at heart. So instead of traveling around to all the different, they call them service units, and instead of traveling around all the different little towns and everything, I would host these great big events at camp. And all the volunteers would come and we would just train everybody at once because it was just easier for me and it was more fun. So I started hosting these great big events, and I would put out the word that it was going to be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And sure enough, on Friday night, all the old time Girl Scouts would show up. like the leaders that had been that were Girl Scouts back when they were little and now we're leaders themselves. We're up there. We have grandkids and everything else, and we're still Girl Scouts. I'm still a Girl Scout. And we would show up and we would spend Friday night like building a campfire and just getting to know each other, maybe, singing old songs and everything. None of the younger volunteers would show up. And I never understood that. It was like, you're all struggling, you tell us, because you don't know what to do with your girls or anything. Here are ladies that have been scouts since they were, 6. Okay. They have all of this experience and knowledge, and you could spend the night with them and pick their brains and find out all kinds of information, and you don't come. Well, then they would show up Saturday and they would get their training, and then I would invite them to stay for something for Saturday night or Sunday, and they wouldn't. They'd be like, oh, no, we're done. We got our training. We're out of here. And they would leave. And again, it was the old time volunteers, the women that, my age and older that were out there. We would camp out in the field, or, we would do all that Girl Scouty stuff that we used to do when we were little. And it was so much fun. And we got to know each other really well. There was that bonding moment. I mean, when my mom died, it was those volunteers that helped me out. They took over running things for me because I was out of town. So they picked up all the pieces because that was part of my job. They kept the trainings going. They kept everything going. They got the house ready because they knew I was bringing my dad home. They came out here and got the house ready so that he had a bedroom to sleep in and everything when we got, it was just, where did we lose that? I don't know. Where did we lose that? Anybody?
I think it's been a subtle invasion of division over time. And I think the big divide happened 5 years ago when the world went crazy. People got so used to being isolated out of fear that I think as much as people want that connection, some people are still patently afraid to come together.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it started before then, but yeah, I don't think that isolation helped it any. I think that made it a lot worse. That technology, why go into town and meet someone for coffee when you can just get them online? It's, yeah, that's good. I love talking to you guys because I can't run into town and have coffee with you guys. But if I could, I would rather, okay? Because I
Yeah.
love to sit down and let's have coffee and let's talk. Not, this is good, but I see people using this for someone that, just down the road or, the 20 minutes away, and they're online talking to them. I have people here that I talk to, they'll be like, oh, do you want to have coffee or do you want to get on Zoom? Let's get on Zoom. No, let's have coffee, okay?
People are getting too comfortable with the isolation.
I don't know.
The technology is causing that isolation. And once you fall into that trap, it gets very comfortable. And it really becomes an effort to push yourself to physically go out and interact. But once you reacquaint yourself with that experience, you begin to realize exactly how much you do miss it. And then you start to work towards bringing that forward once again.
Let's talk about the summit itself, because I don't know, I had a good time. What kind of, I don't know, what's a good way to put this? What moments during the summit reminded you that what we're trying to do with the Rebel Tribe actually matters? Was there like a moment during there when you said, oh yeah, this is why we're doing what we're doing? Because I had several, okay? Usually they were coming when I was really, really tired, and all of a sudden it'd be like, oh yeah, okay, that's why we're doing this.
I think for me, it was seeing the younger women getting out there and starting to learn how to present this idea, and the first time speakers or, relatively inexperienced people just getting out there and making a stab at it. I thought that was awesome. I love that.
That was intentional because that is part of what the Rebel Tribe has always been meant to be, a place for women to come and spread
Right.
their wings, basically. So I actually made it a point to bring on some very experienced speakers like Joey and Sally and Betty but I also made it a point to bring in some first time speakers like Jessica and Lena and because they have a message, they have something they want to say, but they've always been afraid to speak. And because it's kind of like your first job, well, you have to have experience. Well, how do you get experience if nobody will give you a job? So I was like, I made it a point to go hunt down. And I think I did a pretty good job of keeping it about 50-50 of experienced professional speakers and brand new ladies who've never or maybe have only spoken a couple of times but still had something to say. And I think most of them, I'm going to say all of them, I think all of them did really, really well for being so new to it. I was impressed with all of them.
Yep.
What about you, Sharon? Was there something?
Just having this kind of platform is so awesome. I've thought about it. Wow, this kind of opportunity doesn't come around just, that often, really. So, and I think, like you said, everybody had something to say or to share that was significant. So having a place to do that was just made this summit worth it. Really, was great.
About you, Shay, was there at some point during the summit when you were like, oh yeah, that's why we're here?
Was that directed to me? The dog barked and I didn't hear who you were talking to.
Yes, you.
Okay. I agree. Having the younger women have a platform to share their insights, their learnings, it was a good opening / view that the teachings that we've been sharing and the seeds that we've been planting have actually landed on fertile soil. And those seeds are growing, and that next generation is going to carry on the work that we began and bring it even to a greater level. So that's really exciting.
So how do we keep the momentum going after this? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
Maybe ask the youngins for some feedback.
Well, I definitely intend to ask them. Because this, like I said, for a lot of them, this was their first time. I want to know how they felt about it. How did, do they feel more comfortable? What was their experience like? A couple of them did reach out to me. Did I do okay? I was like, you did great. Go read the comments because if you read the comments, it was the younger speakers that were getting the most of I hate to admit it. We all, we all got a like or two, but if you go look, it was those younger ladies that were getting the most of the comments and the likes because they were sharing new stuff. Everybody's heard us already, okay? Everybody's heard us. They know what we have to say. But these young ones were stepping up and saying things, maybe saying the same kind of stuff, but in a whole new way. And, that's what I would tell them when did I do okay? Go look at your session. Go look at what people were saying. Go look at the number of hearts and light. And I said, yeah, you did okay. What about you, Sharon? Got any ideas for how we keep it going?
Well, I don't know how soon you're going to want to do it again, but
for a little bit, although Faye and I have already talked about some things. So
I don't think we're going to be able to hold you down very long, really. And we're right here with you, you know.
Be careful what you sign on for. Okay.
Oh,
What about you, Betty?
Yeah, how to keep the momentum going. Um, I don't know. I mean, um, I have to think about that. Like, maybe there's some way that there could be like a media vault that people contribute to or something, but you're already doing that on the page.
Like that.
Um, you know, and I
Mhm.
don't know if anybody needs another networking meeting. I mean, I'm really super picky about where I network these days, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, some I don't know. Like, what do we do? Uh,
I like that idea of inviting the speakers and oh, I like that idea. That that place where I've been putting everybody's that same little spot where I've been putting everybody's presentations to keep
uh-huh.
that, well, maybe create a separate one because yeah,
Right. Yeah.
with Facebook's new policies on live streams, those will all disappear in 30 days.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm going to download them so I can keep them because number
Yeah.
one, I promised the VIPs lifetime access, and I'm going to give you all a copy of your session. But in the group itself, after 30 days, they're gone.
Yeah, but you know, you could do more with it than that too, Melodieann. You could like bundle all of the presentations and, you know, have value added along with it, you know, like the PowerPoint that I presented. I didn't put it in the group yet, but I certainly could, you know, and I mean, you could do a lot with the amount of media that you generated over this week
I
to
know.
build your business and your brand, you know, like I don't know.
Well, I'm not so much thinking from a business standpoint because I've got all that idea already. Okay.
Yeah, I know you
That's
do.
why
I know you do,
your agreement
but
it's
it's also
I own you. Okay.
I know, but see, the point is that for people who invest their time and energy to getting into the process, that's a motivating thing for them too. Because, you know, like for example, people get into anthology books and they pay a fortune to be able to put in 3,000 words or something like that. You've given the gift of a presence that you're promoting and everything, and they're not having to pay for that. That's pretty significant, I think.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's I mean, like
So, you
I said,
know,
yeah,
and it I mean, could be a motivator for the tribe that, hey, you know, you can sign on and hop on the train whenever you decide you're ready to do this again. By then, you'll have people jumping up and down over it.
possibility. Yeah, I also want to, but I also want to keep it going. I want to keep it going for those people who will never be speakers, who will never, but who are absorbing the information and
Right.
who maybe sat down and said, oh, you know, just something silly and simple. Like I said, when Claudine was talking, and I'm on Facebook hunting down Celtic sea salt because I'd never heard of it, but she says I need it, and I know Claudine, and I trust her, and I'm like Celtic sea salt. Okay. I also want to keep the momentum going for those people. I want to keep it going for the people who have never heard of what did Jessica call it? Her silver lining something. I forget, but you know, her silver at the end of the day. And her, I love that alphabet thing. I have been doing that every day, and it has been such an eye opener. Typing in that you know, taking a what is your word for the day with and going down the alphabet, and then asking chat, how am I, you know, how am I living to this word? Because if you use chat all the time, like I do, it knows. It will tell you point blank, yeah, you're not so much, or you are, or you could be doing this better. I mean, when I tell you guys some of the things that are going to happen after we're done with this, the insight I got from one little session of doing it with what Jessica suggested is it has given me I have a whole new project coming out. Okay. And I don't know how I'm going to find time to do it, but it was too exciting. I can't say no. So I want to keep that going as well. I wanted to keep, the momentum going for the women who are just going to sit there and maybe finally find their little aha moment, even if they never become a speaker, even if they never start a business or they never write their book, but they're still there picking up their little nuggets. I want them to feel like they're still part of something. And that's the one I worry about the most. I don't want these little ladies that have just been sitting in the background, because there's 101 okay, if you look at it realistically, there's 101 people in that group now. Very few of them were interacting, but I can look at the videos and see how many people were watching. And there was more watching than were actually interacting. So I want those ones that were just watching. I don't want them to just fade off into the background now. I want to hang on to them, because you never know when something that we do or say in that group is going to be the thing that finally makes them go, I want in a bigger way. I don't want to just be an observer anymore. I want to participate on some level. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm worried about. How do we keep that going? I don't know. Well, guess we'll figure it out as we go. So yeah, so speaking of Jessica and her A to B thing or A to Z thing that I'm just in love with, what about you guys? Did you have like a favorite quote or an aha moment or a takeaway from this whole thing that just, I mean, I had a bunch. Okay.
One of mine that I noticed, I was at Walmart this afternoon and
Looking for Celtic sea salt?
no. I already have Celtic sea salt.
Am I the only one that never heard of it?
And ancient salt also.
Okay.
But anyway, I was there and the phrase from the first, I can't remember her name, who did it on finances.
Mary?
Yeah, she was talking about finances.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you choose to spend money on this.
Yeah.
And in Walmart, I that just came, because we were buying a new frother for my husband. And I thought, yes, we are choosing to buy this because this will make him happy, So that just, I don't think I'll ever forget that phrase,
It makes a big difference. Like I said, that one, I forget her name now, but she was an early mentor of mine, and she was like, when you write that, I was complaining about my $200 car payment. Don't I wish? Like, when you write that check out now, she says, you are grateful that you have the money to be able to afford this car payment. You are grateful that you are able to afford a quality car, quality transportation that gets you around. So when you write that out in the little description line or whatever, you write in there, write thank you. Express your gratitude. Decorate the envelope with hearts and stickers before you mail it. And I'm just sitting there thinking, the people at the finance company were there to look at this and go, what kind of wacko is this? But then I was like, they're never going to meet me, so what do I care? And what have I got to lose? I'll try her. And it made a difference. It made a difference. It really did. I went from hating, oh my God, I got to write out my 200 and it's so expensive, to I get to write. Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have the chance to be able to afford this vehicle, and it gets me around. It's reliable. I don't have to worry about it breaking down. My kids drive it. It's reliable. It gets them around. I don't have to worry about it. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. And I was like, it's just something that simple made a difference. So, yeah, I agree. Mary was awesome. She makes you look at things a whole different way.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Faye, I know you had a couple because you said so.
Yeah, Julie today, her comment on mindset, that like a flat tire, until you change it, you're not going to change your mindset.
Yeah, Julia's
So if you got a flat tire, you got to change it. If your mindset is off, unless and until you change it, just like the flat tire, nothing's going to happen.
and Julia's pretty amazing. I love her.
That was awesome.
Well, she'll be glad to hear that because she'll listen to this when I post it because she listens to my podcast. So she will be happy to hear that because she was kind of like Betty. She hadn't done this in a long time and she wasn't sure it was still relevant. And she's even more non-techie than I am. Okay. So she's like, I don't have any slides. I don't have anything. Was it boring? I said, no. I said, people were watching and people were listening.
Oh, she already liked my comment because I commented on her session about the flat tire. So she's already aware of that.
Well, good, 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 good. What about you, Betty?
Well, I second that Mary was amazing. I mean, I didn't watch everybody because I'm juggling deadlines right now, but I love that, I choose thing because that's one of my favorite affirmations. It's actually the first thing I say to myself in the morning when I realize that I'm awake. It's, that I choose to create with the universe to have everything show up. And so saying I choose to, use my resources in this way or that way makes a huge difference. Like you said about writing the check, I get to write this check, I get to interact with this project and, make something happen that has a meaning for me and for other people, you know, instead of, oh my God, I can't believe I have to go through this drill again, which is part of what happened today. And I was like, well, you know what? I know how to do it, and I'm just going to do it instead of complaining about it because it has to get done anyway. And tomorrow I can go, all right, I'm ready. Throw it at me. I'll just, deal with it. And so I think the factor of choice is really that's a huge one, and it's like choosing to change the spare tire instead of just sitting there going, oh no, I have a spare tire. Somebody help me, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, Julia's amazing. I had so many moments I couldn't even list them all. I mean, you've all heard me raving about Jessica and Mary just kind of validated what I'd already been taught, so that was awesome. And I've just had
Yeah.
I think my biggest aha though, and it's going to sound funny, maybe was when I was drawing with Terry because I have never considered myself to be an artistic person. My mother was an artist and a painter, and I can't even draw stick people. Okay, so but I still have that thing in me that I always wished I could because I grew up with it. My mom was an artist, and I was actually talking about that to chat yesterday when I was doing my ABC thing, and it pointed out that writing is also art, and I'm like, no, but it's not the same thing.
Yes,
And then I had a
it is.
couple other people tell me that writing is art, and it's like, no, but it's not the same thing. Okay, it's creative, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And but when I was drawing with Terry, I was like, I actually created something. I don't have it up here with me, or I'd show it to you. I actually created something that I think is pretty. And it was like, I guess what she said, something about it doesn't have to look like anything. Okay. Who says it has to look like everybody else says it has to look? I was looking at this and all the colors were, they were different and I liked it. I thought it was pretty. And it's like, well, maybe I am artsy or more artistic than I give myself credit for. Maybe I just can't draw a tree, but I can draw squiggles on a line and paint them in there. So
Right.
I think that was my biggest aha moment was to stop telling myself that I'm not artistic because maybe I am just differently than I'm not my mom. I'm not going to paint
Right.
beautiful landscapes and pictures of people or that's not me, but I'm artistic maybe in a different way. So that was a little interesting for me. What are you
Yeah.
guys all leaving behind as a result of this whole week?
I'm leaving behind that exact thing, that I'm not an artist, because I started doing the Zentangles and the neurographic art before Terry even spoke about it. I've kind of found those things on my own. And just to be able to see what I was able to create on the paper without all the rules and regulations, and then listening to Terry was, again, I got a lot of validation for a lot of the things that I've been intuitively doing. And so now I can appreciate my channeled art and my neurographic and my Zentangles a whole lot more, and not be feeling embarrassed that I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, but yes, I am an artist. So that was huge.
What about you, Sharon?
What am I leaving behind? Oh my word. I'm gonna have to think about that one, Melodieann. Uh,
Oh, come on, you've been on my podcast enough to know that I love to ask the questions. Questions that make you think.
oh,
Well, while she's thinking, what about you, Betty? What are you leaving behind?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I could say I'm leaving behind the idea that I don't have enough time to do things. I mean, or that everything has to happen in some certain way. That we got that one. So that's good, because I like to think I control things. I know in my heart that I don't, but I still like to think that I do, and I could leave a little bit more of that behind. That would be good. Yeah.
Have you figured it out yet, Sharon?
yeah, maybe, yeah, the control thing. I've left a lot of control behind, but there's always more. I can, because I'm, I'm one of those people that has to know exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, and what everybody else is going to do and their role in it as well. And I mean,
Right.
way over control. But I've left a lot of that behind. But I can leave a little bit more, I'm sure.
Right. Right. Right.
Well, I love the fact that you all found something, because yeah, I like I said, I have changed a lot. I did not think that I would. I mean, I'm the host. I'm not really speaking. Well, I'm speaking a little bit tomorrow, but I'm the host, so I'm not like speaking, and I'm listening, but I'm listening differently. I'm not sitting there taking notes and everything. I'm listening, but I'm monitoring, and so it was different. So I didn't expect to be impacted quite as much as I was, but I'm leaving behind a whole lot of, it's a weird way to put it. I'm going to be showing up a lot differently than I have in the past, because I'm leaving behind a whole lot of stuff that says this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's like, says who? I'm leaving behind that. I'm leaving that says who behind, because a lot of things that happened during this week have put me on a little bit of a different path, and I'm excited about it. I'm more excited about going forward than I have been in a long time, to be honest. And that's pretty cool. So what do
Oh,
you
I'm
think?
fried. I need to leave. I'm too fried. I'm sorry. I hit my limit. I really have.
What are you committing to going forward? And then we'll be done. I just want to know what you guys are all going to commit to going forward.
Oh, okay. Um, see?
Y'all said you were going to step up and help keep this thing going. So what are you committing to?
Oh.
Betty's like, I'm committing to keeping my eyes open right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. And I can't really keep that one either. I need to turn off some lights. My eyes are tired. But yeah.
What about you, Faye? What are you committing to going forward?
I will commit to being more on point with sharing some of the inspirational stuff that I post daily in my Spiritual Bites group and sharing it in the Rebel Tribe group. I was doing that for a while and I kind of slacked off. So I'll give myself a little push and get better at sharing in both places.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be what you're committing to within the group or anything. Just what are you committing to based on your experience? What are you committing to going forward, whether it be personally or professionally or within the group itself?
I think for me, sharing the post from my group to the Rebel Tribe is part of me allowing myself to be seen more because I've been kind of a shrinking violet, not wanting to be like I want to be seen, but I don't. There's that yin yang battle of yes, put yourself out there, no, pull back. So I think by committing to that and having more people have eyes on what I'm sharing will give me the confidence to step out a little bit more.
Cool. What about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm definitely, I have already determined I have got to spend an hour at least every day on my writing. So that's, yeah,
I think we
can't,
lost,
it's a non-negotiable.
I think we lost Betty, so let's just
No, yeah, you did. I mean, you see me, but I'm not really here. Um, I mean, I have a newsletter that I post on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but I have been knocked off of my rhythm. I could definitely, when I do post those, I could share those in the Rebel Tribe. I write about writing, so and communication, and sometimes teamwork and things like that.
well, that would be
Um,
cool because I did have several. I've been talking to some of the ladies, some of the people I've been watching, and I have had several of them mention that they wanted to go back and watch your presentation because they have that book in them
mhm.
that they didn't, that they don't really know how to get out, and they wanted to go back and watch you. So again, so yeah, that would be very helpful, I think, because
Yeah, I think that's a good move for me to do, and it adds value. Um, yeah, I'm happy to do that. All I have to do is get my act together and not space out on posting my article because like I like to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays to maintain some version of consistency. But today I was working on getting together some press releases for a client, and I guess I got lost in the weeds. Then just when I got done, I got this amazing phone call from Joey, and I was like, "Oh, really?" So it didn't happen, but I think that's what I need to commit to is like it's a non-negotiable. You post this thing, and stop futzing around with letting other people push your thing out of rhythm. So I will do that.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that you all showed up today, as tired as we all are. But I wanted to just get some insight from the women that were there as speakers. Like I said, I'm getting feedback from the attendees, and I've gotten the, almost the obligatory, oh, thank you for inviting me to speak. It was so awesome. But that's kind of, yeah, okay. Right. I wanted real feedback on what did you get from this? Because
Yeah.
I frankly, as the host, was amazed at what I'm taking away from it. So I wanted to see if other speakers were having that same experience, or was it just me?
No, it was cool. I mean, like, getting out there and making that presentation after not doing it, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I do remember this. I do know what I'm talking about, and that was cool.
So
Like I could literally make it up as I went along because I do know it. And if people are reaching to you, remind them that they go to my website and schedule time to talk to me. I'll give them 30 minutes. They don't have to do anything other than talk to me about what their idea is.
Oh, I'm glad you reminded me of that, because I do. Thank you for reminding me. I have one more thing to do tonight. Thank you. I'm going to remind all the speakers that if they had an offer of what, the free offer they were making, whatever it was, to send me the link and the information, because I want to put all of that together in one thing in the group so people can find it easily instead of trying to go back through all the different presentations and find them.
Right.
I want like one post or something in the group where people can go, okay, this is Betty's offer, I want that. This is Claudine's offer, I want that. This is. So.
Mine is just if you visit the homepage on my website, my opt-in, for my book process and my calendar link are both there on the homepage. So I guess I'll just put that.
Okay. And then just have them tell you that they were attendee at the thing, so that you don't be giving freebies away to everybody.
Yeah.
All righty, ladies. Well, thank you very much, and let's just call it a wrap. And thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.